The hardest part about doing a podcast in your basement, your parents' basement, is you can hear your parents arguing upstairs and there's no way of stopping it. They're probably arguing right now because I'm downstairs, who downstairs who dropped out of university to pursue his career in entertainment. And they're like, why do we have this kid? Why did he turn out this way? He's so parents don't like you when you follow your dreams. That's what I've realized. They don't like that. They'd rather you be miserable but make money, which, that's probably the best thing to do, is to be miserable and make money. Don't do what I'm doing, which is pursuing a passion which makes little to no money. And this is my basement. I live in this basement, and God knows how long I'll be here for. Um, I'll just get comfy. If anything, this is not a podcast. This is like a video diary of my life going to shit, and I'll look back at this like I'm stuck in Mars. But yeah, my name is Andrew, and one thing I realized about having a name like Andrew is there's not a lot of like good Andrews in the media. That's a real statement. Name one good Andrew that's in the. I think the last good Andrew that was in the media had to be in the Bible, because that's who I was named after, one of Jesus' disciples. But even his disciples weren't all good people. They're all like messed up people. That's why that's why they were in the. That's why they followed Jesus, because they. I guess I don't know crap about the Bible, so I'm hoping this is historically accurate. I did grow up Christian, so I'm really hoping this makes sense. But I'm pretty sure the disciples in the Bible were all like flawed people that followed Jesus, and that was part of their like arc, was like they were these horrible people, but Jesus forgave them, and now they're good people. That whole tangent was just to show you guys that I'm no way affiliated with like Andrew Tate and Prince Andrew. I'm trying to make a name out of myself. I'm trying to be the disciple version of Andrew, who's not a piece of shit to women, because that tends to be the case for a lot of these Andrews, are like horrible to women, and which doesn't really make my case any better because I'm brown, and that's what we're known for, being a brown guy. Known for being shitty to women. I'm not, though. I have a girlfriend. I mean, I'm in a relationship, 4-year relationship. Been with her for 4 years. And when people hear that, they get so shocked. They go, "Wow, 4 years? You've been with that girl for 4 years? What's your secret?" Long distance. Long distance is my secret, because any relationship will last if you only see the person like once a month. So yeah, that's the secret to a long lasting relationship. Live as far as possible from them, because once you live close, it's game over. It really is. We've done the mock living together, me and my girlfriend. We've done it a couple of times. It hasn't worked out. A lot of work to do. I don't even think I can't even like fathom the idea of living with somebody. I can barely live with my parents, and I gotta live with like a person you love. I think that's the best thing to do with people you love. Just don't live with them. I think that's the secret to a loving relationship. Just don't live with the people you love. Like I think the best example out there has to be like a dog, right? You love your dog so much, but the dog has a doghouse. The dog even knows, I can't be here for so long. I'm going back to my house. I think that sounds like a Seinfeld bit. What's the deal with dog houses? But I think there's truth to that, right? There's a truth to that. I think there's truth to that. I realize, for a guy that fumbles his words a lot, a podcast is probably the last thing I should have started. But hey, we're here and now we got to commit to it. But I'm still going to double down on my dog theory. I think dog houses are the secret to a loving relationship. And I just said, I'm not going to be like Prince Andrew and Andrew Tate. I'm going to be very respectful to women, and I'm over here telling you to get a doghouse for the people you love. Maybe the next life I'll be better. We'll see. But what else can I say? I'm a comedian. I do stand up, and doing this podcast I thought would in some way, shape, or form help my comedy career. But we'll see, because it seems like everyone's starting their own podcast now. Like I don't have no idea if this is even going to stand out to anybody. Yeah, I have no idea. I had to think about that. Like, how can I make this stand out? I'm not. I'm not gonna. I'm not even gonna force you to subscribe or like it or do anything of that matter. I won't, because there's no point. There is no point. People are like, oh, there's an algorithm to success, and you got to follow these steps. It's just luck. It's just sheer luck. There's no way. There's an algorithm you got to appease. There's like a YouTube god. You got to follow his rules. I don't believe in that shit. If you want to subscribe, that'll be great. But even me as a viewer, I hate when people like beg you for subscribers. Please subscribe to my podcast or my YouTube channel. Shut up. We've been crying. You see these grown ass guys online crying about, can you please subscribe? Can you please? Pathetic, man. That's like the equivalent of like homeless people on the streets. Like, if subscribers and followers are so like significant to someone's life, it's probably going to surpass money. Like, you're going to see people in the streets just begging for followers and subscribers. That's how significant it's going to be to each other. Just begging for subscribers and fucking followers. I can't deal with that. I'm not even too sure if I can curse on this thing. I whispered it, so hopefully YouTube doesn't hear that f bomb I threw out there. Hopefully, because I whispered it, it's like no one heard it. Hopefully not. But yeah, I've been doing comedy, man, since I was 15 years old. Doing comedy since I was 15 years old, and I have no idea why I started. It's always that false hope. Someone says you're funny, and they're like, you should do stand up, and boy, is that person stupid for telling me that, because now you hold on to it like, oh, do I have something? Should I follow my passion? I think that's the worst thing. People always talk about following your dreams and doing what you want to do. I think that's the worst thing you could ever have. The worst thing you could have is a dream. It's so. I wish I was passionate about just working a 9 to 5 and being satisfied with that. I think that takes more courage than following your dreams. Settling for a 9 to 5, that takes tons of courage. It does. Following your any asshole can follow their dreams, right? But like, to put that aside and say, you know what? I'm going to take that cubicle job and I'm going to work there from 9 to 5, 5 days a week, and come home to my wife and make like half-ass sex with her, and then go home to my kids and give them a shitty hug and go to bed, and do that every night. That takes courage. I think that takes immense amount of courage. And I don't even know if that word immense is even a word. It just sounded something. It just sounded like a word I would use in that sentence, and I could be wrong. But the good thing about being brown is like, even if I mess up on a word, the safest thing to say is English is my second language. I can just say that, and all is forgiven, even though it's not, because my parents are from Guyana, and uh, geography wise, demographically wise, Guyana is an English speaking country. Even though, like, if you hear their English, doesn't sound like English. It sounds like if they guessed what English would sound like from afar. That's what Guyanese sounds like if they just guessed it. And I'm not trying to bash on my community here, but we gotta tone down the words a bit. That's all I gotta say about that, man. But yeah, stand-up comedian. Which I went on that tangent about following your dreams. But what I really wanted to say was, I started comedy when I was 15. I was in high school, and yeah, I think that's the best place to start when you're in high school, because when you're in high school, you don't have a fear. You don't have a single fear in your head, and you just jump right into it and do it. That's why you get your license so young, like 16 years old. Like, people think that's a lot of people think it's too old, but no, they don't think that. What am I trying to say? 16 years old to get your license. A lot of people think it's too young. Sorry, that's the correct phrase for that. A lot of people think they're too young, but I think that's a good age, because when you're that age, you don't even know what fear is. There's no concept of fear, because what are you afraid of when you're 15, 16 years old? Your parents, or like being embarrassed? I don't know, but a lot of kids nowadays, I feel like they have no fear of embarrassment because they're so freaking stupid. But anyways, that's just another conversation. But like when you're that young, you can't even grasp what fear is. So like to start, like you have to learn how to drive. I would say, this is my hot take. I think you should get your license at like 13. I really think you should, because the longer you wait to get your license, the more that fear builds up in you, and then you overthink everything. Like an adult getting their license compared to a 16-year-old, there's a big difference, because the adult will think of every possible way they'll crash and die and just the worst possible things. But it's a 16, 15 year old, even younger, they're just like, oh my god, it's a car, this is cool, this is amazing. They're too damn excited to be scared, and they'll make a couple of mistakes here and there, but it won't end their life. I mean, probably could, but it's not the end of the world if it, like, hop a curb or, like, damage the rim, right? You do it younger. Same with, following your dreams. I started comedy at 15, and that was the best thing to do it. That was the best time to do it, because when you're 15, doing, if I can't even imagine starting. I'm 23. I can't imagine starting it now. I overthink everything and have all these mental problems. When you're 15, you have not a single mental problem or nothing like that. I just jumped right into it. I Yeah, I started in high school, which was horrible. It's the worst place to start, high school, because, like, stand up, you're bound to bomb. You're bound to bomb. That's the game. You're testing out jokes, and they're probably not going to be good, and they are all the time not good. But at least when you bomb at a club where people don't know you, you can go home and keep a bit of your dignity, and you probably never see them ever again. Or if they come back, it's not a big deal, because they might forget you, because they don't really care about you that much. But when you do it at school in front of all your friends, and you bomb horribly, and you have to go back to class, that's the worst part. Yeah, I was 15, and I signed up for this coffee house they had. I think it's called Coffee House. Yeah, it was a coffee house, and they never had comedy. It was just like music and dancers, and maybe like a drama kid doing like a Shakespeare monologue, which is always fun to watch those kids do, like those drama kids trying to soak in all that attention on stage. But yeah, I was the first one. I'm like, I told my the person in charge, I'm like, I want to do stand up, and they didn't even know what stand up was. They go, stand up, like, what is that, like a one man show? And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna start doing puppets on stage and all that crap. Yeah, no, it's stand up. I'm gonna tell jokes on stage. And she couldn't. The lady that was running the coffee house, she couldn't even understand what that meant. She goes, "You're gonna tell jokes on stage? If you want to do it, go ahead." And I wrote no jokes. I think I signed up like a month or two before the show was scheduled for, and I not even wrote. I just thought about jokes the day of, because I thought it was so brilliant and prolific. I'm like, yeah, I'll just wing it when I get on stage. That's the worst thing you could ever possibly do. Never do that. But the day of, I had like one good story I would tell everybody, all my friends. It was like one killer story, and I'm like, yeah, this is a story I'm gonna use. It's gonna kill the audience. They're gonna love it. And and like first of all, and also too, it's a coffee house. Like, how many kids do you expect to be there at a coffee house? Like maybe like a 10. A lot of this was high school. Like, how many kids were involved in like those like extracurricular activities? Not a whole lot. So I'm like, yeah, I bet no one's gonna be there. I'll just go on stage, and whoever is there, they'll laugh, and it'll be a good time. It wasn't like that. It wasn't like that. I'm not too sure how this mic worked. Also, my mic is not a real mic. It's just I had to like staple this onto there, because this doesn't work with the setup. So we're gonna make this work for now. I thought I'd just get that out of the way before you guys start commenting. Oh, look at your mic. Yeah, this is the first episode, so maybe, who knows? Maybe later on I can actually afford a mic. We'll see. But yeah, expecting no one to be there at all. I'm like, it's gonna be great. So I get there. It's after school. I get there, and it's in our gym. So I'm expecting like 10 people to be there, right? I get there early. and it's packed. Like the entire gym is filled with kids and parents and teachers and everybody, teachers, lovers, like everybody's there. And I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna die. This is horrible. I never spoken in front of a crowd before. And instead of like baby stepping my way up to like, 10 to 20, 30 people, let me jump right into like 200 people all at once. Jesus Christ. Thinking of it now, I'm getting like nervous. I'm getting like flashbacks. This is like my Vietnam flashbacks. It's really taking a toll on me. But yeah, I was nervous and I was trying my best to like recite my stories that I had in my head that I was gonna tell. And I had no idea how shows work, like format wise. I thought like I would close the show. I thought that's how cool I was. Like, oh, I'm a comedian, so I'm gonna close this show. That was not the case. I the host comes on and he's like, hey, how's everyone doing tonight? We're doing good. We're at the coffee house. We're having, blah 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 blah. Your first act, Andrew Anghad, comedy. That was it. That was my opener. That was my opening. My what's the word? My introduction. There we go. Again, second language. That was my introduction. And I go up, and I remember the girl I had a crush on in high school. She was dead center. She's dead center. She's staring right at me. And just looking at her, I forgot everything I practiced, everything I rehearsed. And I just mumbled and fumbled. Kind of like this podcast, just mumbling and fumbling. And it went horribly. I think I got a couple of laughs because I just started cursing under my breath because I was so nervous. And the teachers I kept saying like a curse word. And he would hear someone go, "Hey!" And I go, "Oh shit, sorry." And I would curse more, and they go, "Hey, you guys stop cursing. We're gonna have to get you off the stage." And I'm like, "I bet you would." And that was the only time I got a laugh. But yeah, it was horrible. And for some reason, after doing that show, I'm like, you know what? Let's do more. And I've been doing it since. So yeah, that's stand up for you. So hopefully, the more podcasts I do, the more this reaches an audience. You guys can see me live and watch that high school scenario play out again and again, night after night. No, I should really promote my shows. Like I'm funny. I'm funny, and you should watch me, please. There we go. That's the best way I could put it. But it's tough out there, man. Like, I live in Canada, Ontario specifically, and it's just tough out there. Like I've like totally accepted the fact that I'm gonna live in my parents' basement for the rest of my life, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because this is the best. I have a really good setup here. I have a bed, and yeah. So anytime I want to go anywhere, at least I know I have somewhere to go back to. That's all that matters. I think people overhype the fact that they want a house and they want, a car and nice. You don't need any of that. As long as you can go back somewhere, I think that's the best thing to do. Just go back somewhere. That's why I got hair everywhere. My God, sorry. For you audio listeners, I got attacked by my hair that only I could see. So now I look like a freaking crazy person. But yeah, I think the best thing to do is stop reaching for the stars. You're if you live in Canada, specifically in Ontario, you're not going to get a house. Um, as long as you have a bed somewhere, I think that's your best bet. Like I'm thankful. Like I have a queen bed. That's really good. That's like that's like a I'm like a king in like the 17th century. Kings slept like this in a bed. Are you kidding me? Pacifically, like the ocean. Specifically, a queen bed. Could you imagine? A lot of people they sleep on on straws or something. I don't know, but yeah, sleeping on a bed. That's peak right there. That's peak. Resume. We're back from our break. I had to take a quick break because of technical difficulties, which was myself. I had to use the washroom. But anyways, um back to Canada. Good old Canada. Canada, I like Canada. I'm not gonna lie. I love Canada. I can't imagine living in the US. So I was in the US like last 2 weeks ago into the US, and I gotta say, rough. It's a rough place. It's nice. Like the US has like all this flat. I hope this doesn't get like imagine this is the only clip from the podcast that gets me like viral, and now I'm banned from the US, which is not going to be horrible, but just saying that would really hurt any career I want to get. But yeah, I was in the US and I'm like, how do people live like this? Like the US, it's nice. Like it's glamorous, and they got nice scenery and buildings. I'm describing a very vague city, but the people there. I'm not saying the people in Canada are any better. I think we're all equally bad, but the US is rough, man. Like I knew it was rough because we drove from Ontario from I don't want to say specifically where I'm at. In the area where Toronto meets London, between those areas. But I'm so paranoid that people in like this one video will get me like get a stalker fan already. No, that's crazy. But yeah, we drove from, let's say, around Toronto all the way to New York, New York, and it was like a 10-hour drive, 12-hour drive, and like we left at night. We left like 8 p.m. Me and my couple of my cousins, and we didn't we didn't we left at 8 p.m. and we got to our destination at 8 a.m. But that halfway point around, like, this is not really halfway, but mentally for me it was halfway. It was around like 1 or 2. We're all starving and nothing was open, which is crazy. You would think New York, America, the land of fast food, they would have fast food places open late, but they don't. There was not a single burger. I can't even name brands. I'm so like lost with what I can or cannot say on YouTube with guidelines, but any big fast food brand you're thinking of, we checked and they weren't open. And yeah, the only thing that was open there, the only thing that was open was the Denny's. And shout out to Denny's for being freaking weird. Oh my god, Denny's is great. It's all right. It's the people that eat at Denny's, specifically at the time that we were at, it was wild, man. I walked in. First of all, we're somewhere upstate New York in this you know nowhere town, ghost town, somewhere. I feel like somewhere where Jeffrey Dahmer just started, just very eerie and terrifying place. But we stopped at this Denny's for a bite, and my god, what a ghost town. There was a sheriff outside. Actually, no, maybe the best description, it was like, if you guys watch Stranger Things, it felt like Hawkins, Hawkins, that's the word. It looked like Hawkins. I think that's Hawkins. Yeah, we were in Ireland. Hawkins. No, the town from Stranger Things, that creepy place. That's what it felt like. And the Denny's was, oh my god, the people, and this waitress specifically, who the waitress was interesting because she was your typical, like, American, period. That's it. Just your typical American. She had no teeth, and she had no teeth, and she had no teeth. She had dentures, and she would take off her dentures, and she would stand in a corner, and she would like wipe them off with a rag, like it was like her glasses, and then put them back in her mouth. And she tried to make herself look pretty for us too, because I could tell she shined the gold ones like really nice. And she sat us down, and she started giving us her life story. She's a single mother, and she has no teeth, and she hates her job. And I was like, "Thank you for this therapy." I didn't know how to respond to her. I didn't want to like make her feel bad by saying like, "Oh, like things will get better." Because maybe she likes that, because it didn't seem like she was like really complaining. It just felt like she was giving us like a life, like a little update, like we were old friends, and she wanted to make us comfortable at the old Denny's, the family restaurant. So I didn't want to take it as her complaining. So I didn't want to be like, hey, things will get better, to make her feel bad, because maybe that's what she wanted in life. Maybe she doesn't like all of her teeth. Maybe she just likes the front or the back. She doesn't need the front. Who knows? I don't know. So, but that alone, like you ever like talk to somebody just so like gross, the whole idea of eating food just gets out of your, like, she turned off the entire idea of eating for me. I did not want to eat or do anything afterwards. Just, and the food was great, but just I was just thinking of her teeth the whole time, and the way she would take it out and rub it and put it back like it was a genie trying to make a wish. Yeah, good old America, man. Good old America. But I think we're at the nothing. I'm trying to do this thing for this podcast where we have like a segment, like the nothing makes sense segment part of the show, where I take one thing and we just talk about it, why it doesn't make any sense. My right now, the only thing I'm the only thing I could think of for this episode to start off this great episode is social media, specifically just scrolling. I don't like social media. I think it's all right. Like, yeah, people are addicted to it, and it's bad for your mind. But it's just the act of scrolling. I don't that this doesn't make sense. I don't like this, because if you notice, like, throughout the years, the way each generation has gotten their dopamine has changed, right? Like, what, before the television there was a newspaper. There would always, if you've seen like old, I've always seen these old historical like pictures of like people out in the public in the 19, I don't know, 10 or 20s, 10s or 20s. It's just people in the park, and they have these gigantic newspapers, and they're holding up to their face. Like, that's the first like the first what's the word, implication or that's the first like thing of the I really second this is my second language, so this is going to be hard for me to think of words. But that's like your first glimpse. That's the word. That newspaper, that's the first glimpse of like dopamine, right? It was the flipping. They would flip the newspaper. That was their addiction, the flipping. And then in the 40s or the 50s, the TV came out, right? The household TV set, and the flipping turned to flicking. This is my theory to dopamine. It started with flicking. You flick the channels, you flick it, right? And now we're past TVs. Now we have social media. Now we're swiping. We're swiping. That's weird. That doesn't make sense. It's the way we got dopamine. Is that was I thought that was a really big turning point for me. I'm like, wow, that's a brilliant thing. I'm like a philosopher right now. And now hearing those words out loud, I'm like, this is garbage. I don't know why. I don't, but no, I stopped. It was swiping, scrolling, same thing. Maybe that was the only word that would have saved the entire bit. But anyways, social media. I stopped the scrolling, and now I'm just like, I'm like itching for dopamine. Like, I need it somewhere now, because now I deleted Instagram off my phone. I still have it somewhere in my laptop, but it's off my phone now. But now I'm just itching for that, because now my mind doesn't know where to get the dopamine from. Like, I don't get it from people. People are so damn boring nowadays. I don't know where I don't know. Like, I don't know what to do with myself anymore, because I need that dopamine fix, right? Because I don't have Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or nothing. I don't scroll anymore. So now I just sit down and just stare at things, and that's like, I watch the news now. Like, that's my dopamine fix. I just watch the news, and it's horrible. Like, the news is horrible. Like, I haven't watched like CNN, or I watch like local, like, I'm from Canada, Ontario, like I said probably a couple times already. I was like, cracked my neck. Jesus Christ. That's great feeling. All right. But I get my dopamine fix now from like watching like local news. I love watching, like, we have CTV News here, but not like CTV News Canada. I'll watch specifically to my city. And that's better in my opinion. I love watching like local news because like it just feels like just feels like people telling each other secrets. That's what local news is, right? Because those those big worldwide, the nationwide news that covers these big political topics, that's like important stuff that society wants us to think it's important. I love the little local news because it feels like, town gossip, right? Armed robbery suspect is this person. You probably recognize that person. Like, oh my God, it's Bill from he worked at Shoppers Drug Mart. Oh my God, he robbed the store. It's crazy, right? Or you see like I recently I saw my math teacher from my middle school was arrested. You don't that's amazing. You wouldn't find that on freaking TikTok. It's like, no, you wouldn't find out on TikTok. It's like a damn old man. You wouldn't find out. You read a book or something. Something an old person would say. But no, I like watching local news. It's just township. It's just town gossip. Just town gossip. All the suspects and the crime, like the suspects who commit crimes. You've probably ran into them a couple of times. I like that. It's nice. Um, but yeah, one thing I've noticed from the news though was it's on everywhere now. This whole Drake, his Iceman. I think it already came out though, but like the promotion he had for the Iceman thing, but yeah, like, he just shut down this part of Toronto. Had this big ice sculpture that was just blocking space, which is crazy. How like the city approved that they approved the sculpture, just a waste of just water and ice just there. And like imagine like how much ice that would have taken to build that sculpture. How many tons of ice? I don't know about tons, but it was a lot of ice that they just piled up together in the city. All that water it takes to do that, and they still give us paper straws. Like you can't preach about being humane and environmental, and then you have Drake doing this publicity stunt, and you give the green light to that, but I still gotta drink my paper mache straw. That's what it feels like, a paper mache. It's horrible, man. But the one thing I did like about the new Drake album, is he called it Iceman, which is it's great because Drake is half Jewish, so you name your album close to something that involves the weather. I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty spot on. I like that. There's no joke to that. That was it. That was the only thing I had about that. Anyways, thank you for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, this is the first episode. I'm if you reached near the end, I'm happy that you watched the whole thing through. We got. Let me hold your hand. We got through it together. You stuck around and you watched it, and it was a mess. I know it was hard. You're like, this guy's he's I don't know what he's talking about. He's fumbling, he's mumbling, but we got through it and we're done. So now you can go. You can close your laptop or turn the TV off or throw your phone across the river, and we're done. But if you enjoyed this and you want to see more from me, stick. You like how at the start I said I wouldn't say no subscribing, but now I'm begging for it because I have no dope. I need that dopamine fix. So please subscribe, and if you want, subscribe, follow my Instagram, my TikTok. It's all the same. Andrew Anghad, go for it. But this was fun. This is fun. This was great. I'm only doing this for fun. This is a great time. If you guys just want to hear me ramble about a couple of things and tell a few stories, by all means, stick around, and we will we will go on this journey together. But until next time, I need to think of a thing to say, but I'll see you guys around. Thank you.